Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hey everybody, how y'all doing? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to you, wherever you are, whatever time of this day you listen to this. Welcome to my channel. Alright, so let's get the business portion out of the way, right? Like, share, and subscribe, right? Like, share, and subscribe on YouTube for me, okay? If the message resonates with you, great. If it doesn't, take what you need, leave the rest, right? If it makes sense to you about your own personal situations, that means that it applies to you. If it doesn't make sense to you, then it means it doesn't apply to you, okay? And realistically, sit with it for a little bit before you dismiss things, just to be sure, okay? All right, so I'm gonna get this reading. We're gonna get this reading done real quick, y'all. Hopefully everybody's doing okay, especially considering the way that the essence is moving throughout the cosmos currently, because we do still have the parade of the planets going on, and we have quite a few different planets in retrograde, and some of them are in conjunction and trine, and oh my goodness, to the sun. So just be mindful of that. We are currently in Scorpio season. Right now, what I'm getting from it is with Mercury being retrograde in Scorpio, is going to talk about the odd culture of things, the different way of doing things, right? That's all occult really means. Odd culture, or realistically, is uh, the traditional or ritual basis. Stuff goes by, okay? All right. So, not all readings are going to resonate with everyone. If it doesn't resonate with you, that's okay. That simply means that this reading isn't for you, okay? All right. Uh, Saturn being retrograde is definitely it calls for a lot of review, right? Especially with Saturn being retrograde with Mercury. You know what it's really telling me? That it's gonna be about what it is that you would have communicated or you would have said, right? And when it comes to communications, right, you have to pay attention to how you have, there's verbal, nonverbal, and then there's the technical aspect. So many people have been getting a lot of karma, so to speak, for things they would have put out on social media, right? Because that is a form of communication and it's a mass communication. Okay, today is Friday or Friday, right? Hopefully everybody has something really good planned, right, for Friday. Hopefully you guys enjoy your weekend, right? I'm hoping everyone enjoys their weekend because we got a lot going on. We're in communications. I was just gonna say in the thick of it, right? Two cards out. We got courtship. We got poverty. Some of this is gonna be. Well, we got a 4 and a 1. Realistically, 4-1. Now, because it's giving the whole all for one for all. Oh my. I heard they said that's all. Okay, all for one for all, right? And then overall essence of marriage or commitment. So for business, right, this might be about part-time situations, moving from part-time to full-time. For relationships, it'll be about going, making things a little bit more solid in a relationship. And if we're talking about different like organizations, however that comes into place, is going to be talking about basically the initiations, crossing over, being accepted into it. This is a not probate season. This is a season when they start doing the scouting to pull in people, especially. And that was at 444 when I said that. Especially when we just had, right, what would constitute as spiritual initiates, right, that would have had some things going on with them, possibly doing some shadow work um, for their families and about survival, building things from the ground up, different foundations in regards to that regard. Now, with October 31st, All Hallows Eve, right? Believe it, the irony that comes into place with this, and I don't think people really paid attention though, is a lot of that stuff typically happens all throughout the course of your life, especially if you're a church goer. So I think there's something that needs to be noted. All right, so it's that. But we got a lot of stuff going on. Got a lot of stuff going on with these cards that came out. All right. But this right now is talking about marriage. Marriage, commitment. I'm using a Kipper deck, y'all. Marriage, commitment, Libra essence, partnerships. We're coming to a close on the Libra axis, so you guys might want to be mindful of that. Within us coming to a close on that Libra Aries axis, realistically, you're going to have to really, really pay attention to the different partnerships it is that you have and why it is you created those partnerships and why it is you would have focused on those partnerships. One of the biggest issues that comes into place with the different axes is the misinterpretation. When you hear Libra Aries axis, a lot of people think that they have to focus on Libra and Aries, when the reality is calling for a review of the partnerships it is that you would have had with people who are either your staff or a part who are closer to you and your family, and a lot of the elders. That's what that really means. And as we are shifting over to the Virgo Pisces axis, it's going to be speaking more so about what wisdoms it is that we can pass on to the young adults so that they can get to old age and show them different applications of those wisdoms. So that way they'll be able to be fruitful later on down the line. Okay. So within this marriage, right, during the courtship there would have been during this marriage, commitment, whatever, they would have been poor, right? And that would have ended when when they would have come an official person, and then would have been the main male, and there would be sudden wealth, and there would be a whole bunch of thoughts, right, within them thinking of this one particular woman, right? Now, this is a lot of masculine essence that's coming into place. Now, one of the other things, right, that is given is a person would have been dating someone, and within them dating the person, that would have been what got them into this situation of coffin, right, or of endings, right. And the other portion of it is within dating someone, it would be the ending of the being impoverished or in poverty, right? So it's that part. The other portion is these two men in here that's like right in the middle. Their glare and gaze, oh my goodness. Yeah, they would have. This is given some other types of initiates, y'all, that utilize uh, the coffin. And that's realistically, it's saying coffin, but it's also giving that whole death, burial, resurrection situation, and how ending things would shift the inspiration, right? It'll shift the inspiration, change the inspiration in regards to that old person going away and that becoming new person becoming. Masonry is definitely something that's really coming out to me, as well as anything with the army and things of that nature. So pay attention to, I want to say pay attention to shipping details for whatever reason. So pay attention to that portion. The other part of it is with the thoughts, right? You're having a whole lot of thoughts. And we got this 22 and this 11. So it's going to be in regards to some master building, how one would build their intuition. And what is realistically what intuition was built on. I'm saying intuition, but institution is what's really coming to me a whole lot to say. And the irony that comes is kind of looping back around to something that I used to say a lot. When you're kids, when before you're an adult, you you just like a person for just because you like a person. And what's really coming to me is kind of like this little, we used to see it all the time, right? In like different music videos and things of that nature. But you get this little boy and this little girl, right? And within you get this little boy and this little girl, the little boy don't have much, right? But he really likes the girl and he gets her this cute little teddy bear, right? And then after the fact, the little girl sees another boy and he brings her a bigger teddy bear. Well, as it progresses, the little boy, he gets like the little toy car, right? And within him getting the toy cars or whatnot, then the girl goes back to liking him, okay? Because now he got this toy car, and that's better than the teddy bear, and they ain't got to walk to the park, right? But that's what's in the thought process of the feeling, right? Now, this is going to be very important. This is very, very important for a lot of different reasons. Because in today's essence, with the miscommunication and misunderstanding of what masculine and feminine essence is, this is the interpretation that keeps coming into place, unfortunately. And that's toxic femininity, ladies and gentlemen. That is not, and that was 11:44 when I said that. That's toxic femininity. So that's an intuition healing portion for you. Also to shift your narrative of understanding. We used to talk about it a lot, but toxic masculinity, toxic femininity, and that can also burden and taint your intuition. So just being mindful of that, with knowing what good feelings are, what bad feelings are, high vibration, low vibration. I also encourage people to make sure you check your vibration while you're watching the video because that will determine what does and doesn't resonate. But in any event, what I was noticing though, right? Yeah, because whatever's going on with um, in this situation, right, in this partnership, in this marriage, during the courtship, the it says poverty, but let me go ahead and put this out here in this Kipper deck, y'all. In this poverty card, the little person, because you can't tell if it's a boy or a girl, right? They're doing chimney sweeping. So that's work, right? And it's given being a part of the working poor. You know what this is about, y'all? Because it's coming to a middle class person. What happens when you would induct a middle class person into being an official person, right? That's that portion. And then with this main male and the sudden wealth, right? So it's that portion. But in the romance aspect, how when you dating somebody with money, you know that of course that ends uh the poverty portion. And how some people would see certain individuals as a jackpot. That's where they, hey, Nani. But no, because that's where this sudden wealth, that's where that would have kept coming up with me. I've been seeing casinos a lot more up to date. And this that time of the year where a lot of people do like because they trying to get the extra money. They're trying to get the extra money for Christmas gifts and realistically forgetting what the true spirit of Yule, right, in my Soldier Boy voice, or in or Christmas, right? Just because you call it something different doesn't mean you're not celebrating the same thing. You're just calling it something different. Because with the trees and all this other stuff coming into place, all of that realistically uh, plays a huge role in the celebration. Now, it does have different meanings for different demographics, so to speak, 1444. However, the same symbols are used. So that's going to be important to know too. About symbols and symbology and how well it is it comes into fruition with you. Okay, so embrace the dark. This is giving embracing the unknown. What it is when one doesn't embrace the unknown and let their emotions flow. And that is in regards to the poverty, yeah, the nature of one not embracing what they don't know, and how one will have to yeah, in short, everything ain't for everybody to know all the time, is what this is really giving. The everything ain't everybody's business. One of the other things that I'm seeing is like there being a conflict of sorts. Yeah, because it's giving the whole battle of the sexes. And even in that regard, like right now, is giving the battle of the sexes who can be more toxic. And when I say toxic, I don't mean like the cutesy, you're my person, I'm possessive over you. I mean like the really toxic, abusive type, and how financial abuse could be and is 1616 when I say that. A very huge issue that comes into place amongst relationships. So that's definitely something. And when you're dating a different demographic than you or ethnicity, that's something else. Yeah, because what I'm seeing right now is somebody. It's like if this is something that you would have seen growing up, and in a lot of ethnicities and just across the world, it is what constitutes as passion, right? Let me go ahead and say this: fighting and fucking is not passion. Okay, it does not give off. Yeah, because if you're always fighting with a person and you got to put your hand in their face and you gotta do, yeah, or you gotta feel like you gotta chase after them and do all that's too much. That's miscommunication of the nonverbal on a nonverbal scale. So it's not about what you see, it's not about what you say, it's about what you do in regards to this portion of okay, Mercury retrograde. This is a lot. It's a lot of stuff. That's what would have been thought about in regards to during this ending. The fights. I'm hearing that too gone too long by In Vogue. Now, even in addition to that, now because it's the whole Lucy Pearl, that's part of it. And how you separate when there's too much conflict, it just means that that two people have grown in different directions, ladies and gentlemen. And then even in regards to this whole loving without condition, there, yeah, because it's giving that whole loving without condition, and then you get the false narrative, realistically, of my love don't cost a thing. But realistically, everything costs something, right? You either play somebody playing with some stuff. You either pay with your pride, you pay with your dignity, or you pay with your resources, whatever those resources may be. So it's always a cost to something, even if you pay with your sleep, yeah, by being sleep deprived, poor health, all of those varying aspects can and do um, come into fruition. And within letting the emotions go and loving without condition of this official person. So, yeah, because you know what it is, a person being power hungry and feeling like they can do something because they are of a particular status. That's that portion. Um, I don't know who that is for, but it being one's nature to seek the lesson in a situation, and within it, challenging one's perception. In short, or another way that you can pay is with your thoughts. Pay with your mind, your mental stability. Okay, so there's that portion. Now, some of these, yeah, according to in this initiation for whoever that portion is for, they would have been thinking about that transformation that came into place with them realistically getting this sudden wealth just by thinking about it. Thinking about it, focusing. You're focusing on a woman. No, no. Because I'm here in the. So some of this is going to be for artists, right? Because I'm hearing it paint a picture, right? I could picture us in the living room by the mantelpiece, and you're telling me you love me. The Kiki Wyatt and Avant, right? Nothing in this world I wouldn't do for you, baby. That song. I can't really sing it right now though, y'all, but y'all get the point. And how this realistically, oh no. No, because what it's given is the whole family situation that come into place when, yeah, when for some people it's going to be about marrying into money. Others it's going to be about having money and being married. Others even still is going to be in regards to, yeah, when you do it for the family and you marry a rich person. Yeah, because the other portion of this is going to be about when two men get married or are a part of a commitment. Hey, I'm just saying. And the irony of being in a commitment is a masculine essence. That is a very masculine essence, being in a commitment. Yeah, because it's about what you do in those regards. But yeah, what it's given is the when two men get married, they're being sudden wealth in the thoughts, and then the other portion of it will be about being an official person. And in regards to it, yeah, whether it's an official person that's a man, two men, yeah, because what we got going on is we got an official person that's two men, we have an official person that's man and woman, right? And even in that, it's a masculine and feminine essence. 22, when I said that. So it's a masculine and feminine essence, regardless of how that comes into place. But in this official person, it'll be in that sudden, it'll be in that not knowing who the official person is. Somebody just being nosy is kind of what I'm getting from this. Yeah, people being nosy. But what I'm, the incoming star, right? Healing, Aquarius essence. Okay, and one of the things, yeah, because how Aquarius can relate so easily, so easily to Scorpion essence. And then within the whole collection of information, somebody, the other portion of this, I'm not even gonna lie. My condolences to any person who would have passed away, right? Currently around this time. Uh, yeah, to those people who are in the grieving process, right? Of people passing away. Because this is that time of year where you think about all those lost loved ones. One of the things that I could suggest to help y'all, to help ease that pain, would be set a plate at the table for them, with their picture. I mean, yeah, with their picture, or, just light a candle for them. Lighting a candle really helps a lot in that regard. Okay? Yeah, because within the collection of the information of the official person passing away, or no longer being here, the other portion of it will be about how a person can have a hold on you from the grave. I used to talk about this a lot in my other readings a while ago, but a person having a hold on you in the grave or from the grave. That's that portion. And within one not letting their emotions flow, it'll be in regards to when you're in that coffin or in that death state or transitioning Scorpio essence. Her, can you read the numbers too? Yeah, 4, 37, 19, 22, 1, 11, 16. You know what this is telling me? It would have been a person who would have passed away on the portal during the 11-1 portal. And it wouldn't have been an 11-1 portal, would have been earlier this year at 1/11. So January 11th is one, any of those ages, right? Some of it is going to be about how one would have been dating for 4 years, and they would have been poor, right? Or between, I don't say poor, I say between blessings, y'all. So I'm gonna start saying it. But they would have been between blessings, and that would have ended when they would have crossed over and became an official person, right? And there would have been this initiation of intuition, right? In short, what I'm getting from it is, in this particular situation, this person, they wouldn't have had, they just would have known how to build things, but they wouldn't have been intuitive. The intuition would have come later on, and that's what would have shifted their thoughts and things of that nature. Okay, so but and even in that regard, we got two fours, um, two fours, two ones, nope, three ones, technically a two, and then a seven. In a numerology, what is realistically given is the ability to identify when work, family, and partnerships, how it is work, family, partnerships come into place. Yeah, how different partnerships are created, how different bonds are created. The incoming offer of an ending, moving in, moving in slowly. Yeah, this okay. The Virgo axis, and how the Virgo axis is going to reflect a lot of the same things that happened during the Scorpio axis, and how lower functioning Virgo essence is really close to, dare I say it, the how people would view on a humanitarian scale. Scorpio, part one, part two is Virgo, a person passing over, and how one wouldn't have made an offer for a person passing over. One of the things I'm gonna go ahead and say, one of the things I'm gonna go ahead and say, because it's coming to me, and this will be about the whole mediumship. And if you would have been paying attention to, like in this official person who would be passed away, right? Who would have initially taken care of some situation. Now, because what I'm hearing is a person within the collection of information they fucked up. Oh, what y'all done messed up? Yeah, because here's the problem that comes into place with it. When a person is passed away, they can't, it's one of those, you can't tell me what to do no more, right? But you do have the obligation to acknowledge what it is they wanted to do. And if, yeah, because what this is also giving is someone would have found out that the only way they could have got something from like an estate or something, you know how they build trusts and stuff like that, or they have certain trusts. The only way that a person can get something is if they get married. It's pretty much contingency clauses. Yeah, it's pretty much the same situation that comes into place with like when you have men, right? Really powerful men have a tendency to do this with their children, right? The only way that you can do something is if you have a child with the person. In short, if you don't have a child with the person, then you don't get anything in that regard. So that's it. Yeah, it's giving the drawing up of some new contracts. Y'all pay attention to that, especially for you official people, masons, and all that. Yeah, because just because a person has a title doesn't mean that they got anything. It don't mean they got money. It don't. It just really fucking doesn't. We've seen it happen, right? Especially with the cryptocurrency and all those different things that'll be coming into place. And then incoming discussions, and then part of it will be about incoming discussions, but the other portion of it will be about what wouldn't have been discussed, right? For the alchemy, the alchemical aspect of it, it'll be about finding your way through to make an offer, and there be a conversation. Yeah, that's that part. And the other portion will be about gossip, miscarriages. In that regard, I'll go ahead and say with the Scorpio aspect, genital health, general health. I was just gonna say, depending on where this is coming from, is okay. Yeah, cause a lot of this is gonna depend on what era this is coming from. Because in 1922, one of the things if you go on according to Bloodline 1922, it would have been a lot of venereal diseases that would have been going on, smallpox, chickenpox, and the Tuskegee Airmen. It's so much stuff that would have been going on with that, right? Yeah, and the relevance that would have come into place with those types of experiments. Now, the incoming, right, will be about what it is that would be going on with this whole King of Swords aspect, with them not being telepathic, not being connected, but the collection of information, right? And even in regards to that, not following through in regards to their thoughts. Yeah, in short, not isolating themselves. What it is when you don't take time away to just sit and think about different things. But what it is to think in isolation. Brilliant minds think, no, great minds think alike, brilliant minds think alone. Right now, here's the deal that comes into place with thinking alone. That's how you can determine what your wavelength is, because you be alone when those thoughts would have come into place. And that's the purpose of the whole transformation. It doesn't matter what part of it. Yeah, because this is around a time where a lot of people like to join churches. 3311, when I said that, join churches, join organizations. It's like a massive sweep of, this person comes here, this person comes here, you know what I'm saying? And depending on your affiliations, that will determine your ranking and where you go with things. 33 when I said that. Okay. So ultimately, yeah. In short, pay attention to the lesson, because it was, especially if this person has passed over already, it was their nature to seek the lesson. And if you are not only collecting information, but if you are trying to, yeah, with that collection of information, that was 3355. In short, shifting what it is you know to be so. But yeah, if a person's wife passing away, it's a lot of stuff going on right now, y'all. Yeah, so much stuff that would be going on. Okay, hold on. But with that in thinking and isolation, there being a small offer of stability that would be moving in quickly. and wouldn't be policed. The beauty that comes when relationships aren't being police uh, being police or policy or politics or political. In short, when it's not being controlled by something else. When you could just free your mind. But in this discussion, it would have been about, yeah, the priestess being revealed or telling some secrets and what it is to be a priestess. And how a person, I just heard divine feminine. Yeah, how a person would constitute, what constitutes as a divine feminine, divine masculine as an identifier. So the incoming priestess, the incoming friendships, and then there being some, for some, this is going to be about peace. Others, it's going to be about uh, that Libra aspect of there being two forms of clarity, the his side, her side, and then the truth is the middle is part of it. Then the other portion of it is there's a piece of clarity that's had for yourself versus a piece of clarity that's presented to the world. Now here's the deal that comes into place with the piece of clarity that's presented to the world. That's where this perception aspect comes into place with it, and it tells you a whole lot about different people, especially in regards to the manipulations that can or will come from a person being healed or being a healer. One of the things I'm gonna go ahead and say within this being a healer or being healed, especially if you're talking about on the, I just heard something about the Hippocratic Oath. You take in the healing aspect, you take a physical 3D oath not to hurt people. You do. Mentally, physically, financially, emotionally, psychologically. That is, yes, that's the oath over your life at that point, right? So, yeah, in regards to these aspects, with someone being indecisive, part of it is indecisive. The other portion of it, it'll be about it being over the course of 2 days. The manipulations in the discussions, it'll be about not doing love. We're not doing love, we're not being loving. This person, whoever this person is, they're not loving you at first glance. The other portion of it is on the income aspect, right? It'll be because, yeah, it'll be about the developed friendship with a priestess. But not necessarily a divine feminine. Now, because when it comes to this whole passed on loved one aspect, how one, now, because the other portion of it is how can you heal the dead? That's what this is giving. But how can you heal the dead? Easily. You just allow their ass to cross over. You finish what you need to. It's that part. And you do the closeout of whatever business it is that they had left here on this planet. Right? Yeah, so like, okay, one of the things, right? They when they make like their final request, like if a person gets cremated, right, and they want to be buried or not buried, and they want their ashes spread over Mount Kilimanjaro, right? It's given the bucket list. Is part of it. The other portion of it is gonna be if, like say for instance, your passed over loved one would have set aside something for you, set aside something specifically for when you got married, right? Yeah, or it was, or it's a stipulation of some sort. Because it wouldn't be about you dating; it'll be about marriage, and it's also going to be about whether or not you know about it. Because if you know about it, yeah, some people, oh, now, because what is given is that you have to, that a person will have to stay married for a particular amount of time. Oh, they would have to be married for 3 years. Is that what that's about? They got to be married for 3 years, but dating, they would have been courting, getting to know each other for 4. And it's giving that whole getting to know a person through different situations. Yeah, because ultimately, what is given is that whole when they think about you, they how a person wouldn't be thinking about a friend. They make the equivalent of it being somebody who would have passed away. I'm gonna go ahead and say this. Stop saying that ain't your grandmama. And if you ask the question about getting with somebody that is your grandmama, 40, 44, when I said that last thing, if you made that association about getting with somebody who is like your grandmama, granddaddy, well, I'm gonna go ahead and put it out here for you like this. Are you your grandmama, granddaddy? Part one, part two. You don't know what your grandmama and granddaddy has to go through. That's the other portion. Another part of it, yeah, in the traditional beliefs with being married, a lot of people stop getting to know their spouse. Hangman, Gullah Jack, and what it is that would be projected. Yeah, they stop. It's like I got you now, and that's the abuse that'll come into place with it, and it's not healing, and that's toxic feminine and toxic masculine essence. Okay, father and eyes reverse. Okay, so ultimately, it's some stuff, some incoming thoughts and things of that nature that'll be coming in for sure. And what this is giving is that it's not a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, possibly a North Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. And now we got this higher order stuff, Gullah Jack. What it is that will be projected. Oh my goodness, what it is that will be projected in the commitment. Some of this is going to be about the commitment to being a priest, pastors. Um, some of it could be some names. Uh, Taurus, definite Hierophant essence, but what it is to be steadfast within looking inside oneself and coming outside of their thoughts and not being juggled. And for 2 years ago, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn twins, or just twins, period, with two seeds being planted at the same time so one could go on another day. It's given in vitro first, in vitro. Okay, on a political aspect, in the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms and all this other stuff, ensure the person's right to protect themselves. Okay, in the in vitro aspect and the right to bear arms, the only way that, or not the only way, one of the ways that they connect is you have a right to protect your bloodline regardless of ethnicity or heritage. Part one. Part two. Yeah, because it's given enough. Every time around, okay, I don't know if any other readers have caught on to this, but every time, every year around this time, that's the way I want to say it. Every year around this time, we always get these really detrimental readings. And it's because it's about the whole relationship and how stuff don't start coming out about a person until after somebody would have passed away. Yeah, because pay attention to, you never know, especially with these passed over loved ones, friends, family, karmics, they're no longer active in your life, whatever, what have you. With all of these different situations, it's a reason why they're no longer in your life. It came to an end, and you have a grieving process, and you have a right to grieve. You have a right to grieve, you have a right to mourn. 4433. However, you do not have a right to abuse emotionally. You do not have a right to abuse physically, financially, or any of that. 4444. You don't have a right to do none of that. But you have a right to grieve. And the way you grieve and process your grief should be in your own way. 4455 when I said that. It's not where you take it out on the other person. Y'all, Lord. I mean, my condolences, right? But it's a right way to do things and it's a wrong way to do things. And just because, I'm going to go ahead and say it, just because your last name might be right, don't make you right for everything. You can be wrong. Oh my God. And mother of sticks. 9 of six and mother of sticks. Right? Going on, being able to go on another day, being protected. Being protected by the dead. Being protected by the transitions and the endings. That's where the protection comes from the transformations and the transitions. Okay. With one being able to go on another day with being attractive and attracting and attraction. Okay, let's get some angel guidance real quick, y'all. Yeah, because what this storyline is giving, yeah, how a person wouldn't have had friends, wouldn't have had nobody to care about them, and depending on which ethnicity, like they always say, it's lonely at the top and all this other bullshit. Yeah. Okay. Now, because giving, who are you? Right? That's part of it. Cut your cords. Ask Archangel Michael to clear any old attachments to fear that stem from past relationships, freeing you from destructive patterns. One of the things I'm going to go ahead and say is um, when you're dealing with past over relatives who want you to fulfill something, if you haven't fulfilled what they want you to, you're not going to get shit that you want out of it. So very serious. That's typically how that works. But if you do what they ask you to, right? Yeah, do what they ask you to, see what they ask you to see, then that's how it works. It doesn't work by you sacrificing another fucking person. I'm cussing y'all, my bad. It doesn't work by you sacrificing a live person to get what y'all do too much. Yeah, because it's giving cannibalism, ladies and gentlemen. Sacral chakra. Yeah, sacral chakra, anything else. Yeah, it's going to be about what it is you desire. And in the event that, there we go, in the event that you're healing from some past situations. Overall essence of be willing to forgive. Ask the angels to clear your mind and body of past pain in exchange for peacefulness. Okay, it says, ask the angels to clear your mind and body of past pain in exchange for peacefulness. I'm going to read this again. Ask the angels to clear your mind and body of past pain in exchange for peacefulness. Okay, within the be willing to forgive, you have to forgive yourself first and truly forgive yourself. This is what I mean by that. A lot of people say, oh, I forgive myself, but then they turn around and they do the exact same thing. So you didn't forgive yourself. That's a form of self-punishment. Yeah, when you have certain behaviors. Crystals and Archangel Michael. Yeah, because what this is giving is how a person will be attempting to telepathically communicate. I need you to change your perception. I need you to forgive me for the commitment. Forgive me for being married. Forgive me for whatever this situation is. I don't know about you, but I personally, yeah, especially if this person has passed away and there would have been some magic, candle magic that would have been done. The person you need to forgive is the one who will be in the coffin. Or the one who would have already passed away and would have already did this. That's the person that needs to have the forgiveness going on. Right? And then crystals and Archangel Michael, the essence of crystals supports you and helps with your present situation. You're working very closely with this powerful archangel who's protecting and guiding you through this situation. So, in the young adult aspect, what I'm thinking is supposed to, some of the conversations it is that would be going on is if you see, and if you know that a person ain't no good for you, um, before you're in a relationship, they ain't gonna be no good for your ass afterwards. They're not. They're not. And that's what the past on loved ones will be telling you in these different projections. Yeah, because what I'm getting from it is it's a lot of dreams that will be going on, right? It's some dreams. It would have been you would have been getting different premonitions, visions, right? And even in regards to how it is one would embrace what they don't know about. And this is realistically how quick it is that a person would catch on to things going on outside of them. And yeah, what it is that would have gone on when a person wouldn't have been juggled for 2 years ago. Ensure how everything is disproved and discredited. I ain't even gonna lie though, y'all. Yeah, cause people be always when you get to a certain status, right? People want you to, or they will want to ensure, right? And that's the other thing. Yeah, on the medical aspect, some of the things y'all need to pay attention to is what would be going on with um some of the veins. It is. I don't see no Sagittarius. Yeah, and if you have seizures and stuff like that, petty mauling is something else, and the difference between a seizure and a essence shift. And when I say an essence shift, it's gonna be in regards to if you're really essence sensitive. Okay, so it's that the other portion though, right? Yeah, is I just heard if you don't use it, you'll lose it. Oh, yeah, because if you don't use your intuition, if you don't use your intuition and you don't pay attention to what you're supposed to pay attention to in your own life, then you're not really utilizing it. And huh, if a person, huh, I used to say this and it used to come out real sarcastic, right? But it's the truth. How a person can show you better than they can tell you. Now, that's something that you know, parents say a lot. I can show you better than I can tell you, right? 5333. But it's not always necessarily intended to come out that harshly. The I can show you better than I can tell you. In some instances, some people, if you're a visual learner, you would prefer for a person to show you, right? If you're a kinetic learner, you would prefer for a person to just let you do it. If you're an auditory learner, you would prefer for a person to talk you through it or to tell. Yeah, so in those regards, paying attention to your learning style is going to be really, really important, especially with if you just now getting on that journey, um, paying attention to what they showed you, because a person gonna show you how they feel about you. They really, really will. All right, all right. So light and love to y'all. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Right? Like, share, and subscribe. Okay. And if you like to schedule your own personal touch of clarity, you're more than welcome to do so at work ain't like work LLC at gmail.com. Okay? Because see, remember, like work, it ain't like work. It is not like work. All right. close out all of the old accounts. Yeah, you more than likely do need to close out all of the old accounts. What's the point in holding on to an old account? It doesn't allow, if you hold on to the old account, right, it doesn't allow for you to, on the business aspect, right, even in romance, it doesn't allow for you to open new accounts because you're taking that old essence and you can't write off all of the fuckery and fuck shit that would have, my bad job, my mouth, but it wouldn't allow for you to write off all of those old situations to create something new and get better people in. Does that make sense? 5533 when I said that. I hope that helps. Okay? Alright. Cause see, remember, light work, it ain't like work. It is not like work. It's not like work. That's why you have to stay light while you work.